What up, people? Happy Saturday. Excuse me, happy Sunday. Excuse me. This is the Black Wealth Project. Every week, 7 p.m., we talk black issues, black money, black topics. Today, we are talking about are black folks missing out on the stock market. Stock market is at like a 70-year high, and we still hear rumblings of black folks who don't want to be involved in the stock market in whatsoever shape, form, or fashion. So today we wanted to talk about that. And as you see, only 3 of us are here. We're missing the ladies. And so we're going to have a good time. We might be a little bit reckless. So, just kick back and have some fun. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
No charcuterie boards today.
Yo. Speaking of charcuterie boards, I was visiting with my aunt yesterday. Guess what she poured out on us?
Oh, the charcuterie?
She poured out a Sharky board. I meant to put the post in the room. I forgot, though. I'll do it during the show or after the show. No meats, but just the cheese and the grapes. So we was halfway there.
If you listen to Tracy and them, that's not a charcuterie board. That's a Philly joint.
Nah, it's there. The Philly joint was with the turkey bacon.
Yeah, we was going straight hips on the Philly joint. Turkey bacon, you know what I mean? We was going straight there with it.
Absolutely. So as we get going, we're talking stock market, and we saw an article as we get ready to go. But I got a question for everybody. Do you have your financial number, or do you know what your financial number is? If so, hit a yes or no. I want to ask. My newsy side really wants to ask, but I don't want to put your business out in the street too much. Now, fellas, do y'all have y'all financial freedom goal or freedom number? I know y'all do.
Yep.
What makes you think we haven't already hit it?
I didn't ask you if you hit it or not. I asked you, did you have a number?
Great point. Yes, you did. You win this one. But you know what I'm saying? Your Ali slander ain't gonna be tolerated though.
There was no Ali slander. There was none. Please be clear.
Listen, man, you gotta watch that PBS doc, yo. That's a must watch.
I'll watch it.
Anyway, but to answer your question.
I'll say this though, Jimmy. Did you know I actually used to work with the family?
Which one?
The Shabazz.
Oh, you talking about yeah, you did tell me that. Like his daughter or something, right? His daughter or something.
Yep.
Yeah. I haven't worked with
the grandson used to live on my block.
I work with Frazier though. Me and Joe Frazier did some real estate deals, but that's as close as it gets to
the daughter.
No, Joe Frazier himself.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's major.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, at one point, believe it or not, I actually listed his gym right there on Broad Street.
Was that before or after it became a furniture store?
It was before, because we knew he was going to lose it. So actually, we could put it on a. It's a whole long story, but we're going to put it on the market. Well,
I don't. Yeah,
we'll talk about that offline. But
the
bottom line is like, I definitely
my newsy has gotten away. My bad.
Yeah, I had a lot of dealings with the God.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I will say this, right? I love Frazier. I love Ali. I will say this though. The one and only time I was disappointed in Ali was when he called Frazier a gorilla, and that really hurt him and his family tremendously. But I thought,
absolutely,
the fact that he apologized later on was even bigger of Ali though.
But they go into that whole thing. That's why, like the it's a must watch. But listen, man, the elders in Philadelphia, man, like really, I work with Dr. Cosby too, and I know that he's not a popular guy to talk about now. But the crazy part about it is, like, you talk about somebody that has like 2 sides or is in 2 different worlds. When I had worked with him, he got me in front of like several places because we were talking about bringing personal finance to certain areas, and one specifically was the public school system. He got me a meeting with the powers that be for the school district of Philadelphia. Nice. And walked me through the doors and sat down. But politics as usual. But anyway, shout out to all the Philadelphia legends.
Shout out to
That's
the
dope.
legends.
Y'all hear Jimmy out here flexing on us?
I'm not flexing, dog.
Yeah.
I'm flexing. You work with the
All
Shabazz.
dollars.
How am I flexing? But you the one that worked directly with the Shabazz. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That wasn't a flex. That was two generations.
I'm just shouting out the elders, man. I'm just shouting the elders out, man.
That's dope. That's dope, though. That's dope. So I know Corey done work with some legends too, then, because that's how
I
y'all roll.
work with plenty of legends, but I let y'all shine. Y'all good.
No, man, listen, Corey definitely worked with legends. I mean, he worked with me, so you know what I mean. Like, you know,
I'm working with two legends right now. You know what I mean?
The whole Blackwell project, they're all legendary.
But I definitely
that's right. That's right.
I've been in the presence of some legends, but some of the actions have been kind of shady and shifty. So I'm gonna keep their names out of the mouths of
some mafia legends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I work with some legends that have had some legal issues. So I'm gonna mind my damn business and not put their business in the streets.
Hey. All right, so listen, y'all. We are talking today about, are black folks still running away from the stock market? What do y'all think? Do y'all feel black people have fully embraced the stock market? Stock market's at a 70-year high right now. A lot of money being made out in these streets. A lot of paper being printed, so to speak, fueling a lot of these multi-decade highs. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think, to the listening audience? So let's check in with folks real quick. Again, today's question is, do you know your financial number? Do you know your financial freedom number? So let me correct that. That should be changed. But let's wrap to our folks. Cam B's in the building.
Yeah.
What's up, Cam?
How you doing, Russell?
Russ, what's up, brother Russ? What's up, beloved?
All the time.
Say that again.
Hey, Russ is a legend.
Facts. Jose's in the building.
Legend.
Don Johnson.
Legend.
Monica Williams.
Legend.
Double legend, right?
Yeah. Legend married to a legend.
Right? Legendary times legendary equals legendary forever. All right. So let's go back real quick. Don says, yes, definitely have my number. All right. Monica says, happy Sunday, folks. I have my financial freedom number. As a FIRE follower, that's the first thing you say you should determine. And for those who don't know what FIRE stands for, I always get this wrong. Financial Independent Retired. What is it, Jimmy? Help me out here. Financial Independent. Jimmy.
Retire early.
Financially independent, retire early.
Financially independent, retire early. I always want to say something goofy.
No, FIRE. Shout out to all the FIRE folks out there.
Yeah, I rock with FIRE. I mean, I don't currently follow it, but I love the idea of it. What's up? Russell says his poppy spar with Joe Frazier. That's dope.
Oh, nice.
All right, GC says, people that I know tell me that the market is high right now, but back when the market dropped last year, they still ain't buy nothing. Just a bunch of talk majority of the time. Hey, Romaine.
Romaine, what's goody?
All right, GC says, folks want to get in the market's going to dive and off the rise. Maybe. It's all about your time horizon. Don Johnson says, I think our community is coming around when it comes to the market, but I still think there is some mistrust or lack of belief that wealth can be made in that asset class. Okay. All right. And Monica says, I definitely think black folks have an aversion to the stock market because they're afraid of the plummet. But they don't get that the folks making the rules have more money than most of us in the market.
That is 100% true. And you can see what they actually put in the market. The rules of this country say that they have to report that stuff. And they do. They let you know what they're doing and how they get into it.
I feel a name drop coming.
Oh man, there's a lot of name drops, but you know.
Well, you mentioned it earlier.
The GOAT is Pelosi, Nancy, put some respect on her name.
The mistress of insider trading.
Now listen, her brother Sal get busy too. He don't even got to report his. But Sal get busy with the government contract.
Man, they all are eating. They all are eating.
Yeah, man.
So now it's funny, right? Again, I know Corey and Jimmy talk a lot about how Congress is getting busy, but that tells you that there's something going on, and there's money to be made, and a lot of that is public information. So if you wanted to do just one strategy, right, you could just follow the trades of those in Congress.
Literally, because they get busy. We be talking about these other investors, right? That be as the greatest of all time, millionaires and billionaires, man. Man, listen, if you followed Mitt Romney or Nancy Pelosi or any of those people, like they get busy, right? Like you following behind, the Buffett board, you will end up with 20%. Nancy Pelosi got a 69% cumulative win rate over the last 10 years. Do you know how crazy that is?
Crazy ain't the word.
That's absolutely nuts.
Crazy is not
absolutely berserk.
The word.
What you talking about? That's what I'm saying. And I was just talking about Sal placing these multi-million-dollar options trades and just dropping a big ass bag. Yo, Nancy Pelosi make $200,000 a year from her job. She make like $200,000 a week from you got the ad blocker joint up. So she make $200,000 a week in the markets. Like Nancy.
No, but the actual she did 69% annual returns over a decade period.
I was just telling them.
But her it was one play. She made one options play where she did something like 700,000, and they were talking about her annual salary was like 200,000. So, so she's tripling up her salary in the markets.
Talk about FU money.
Yeah, man.
Talk about FU money.
But to answer your overall question, we still have an issue as it pertains to the stock market, and I mean it's historical. Think about it. In the past, we weren't even able to participate, and we also have an aversion because it's not tangible. Like a lot of paper assets, we have an aversion to because we don't trust systems. We don't trust big companies, big entities, or governments. So that lack of trust is going to hurt us in the long run because that's where all of the wealth is. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about the stock market. So you have to fight that as well. So it's a lot that goes into us in the stock market. I was telling you that Corey and I did a podcast, somebody else's podcast. They were interviewing us. And it was interesting. One of the gentlemen on there literally told us, and he said this, he was like, I'm not messing with the stock market or crypto. I don't trust none of that. I'm better off taking my money and gambling. It was dead serious.
Well, gamble like what?
Like going to the casino.
Yeah.
Going to the casino.
Because that's how
was he playing dice on the corner, or are we talking real casino?
He's actually, the funny thing is he said both. He said the first one as a joke, like I go outside. He said, or honestly, just go to the casino. But his point was that's the way that he saw the stock market or cryptocurrency or any of the markets. He saw them as gambling. He said, all you're doing is gambling. So I'd rather gamble a different way. And that was his point. And he was dead serious about it. And I'm like, well, you have to understand how all the wealth was built. The thing about wealth is it's not even really difficult to obtain. I know that sounds crazy, but just study what wealthy people do, right? If you pick up the Forbes list, how does everybody make their money?
And then do what they do.
Yeah, it's either stock market or real estate. I mean, it's just generally what it is. It's business, the stock market or real estate. And even as a stock market, it's still business. It's ownership of businesses or land. That's how the wealth is created. So it's really kind of simple, but the fact of the matter is a lot of us have an aversion because we don't understand. There's a lot of misinformation, and historically we've been kept out of markets, and it's just the way we see things. It's kind of effed up, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I always ask people,
super duper truth.
Yeah, like when Jay-Z wanted to go from millionaire to billionaire, he started to buy into businesses. Same thing with Nas. Same thing with everybody who Kanye. Kanye went from millionaire to billionaire when he started, messing with these businesses. When he started messing with Adidas and Gap and all of these other Nike and all these other businesses, he went from millionaire to billionaire. He went from owing $40 million to being multi-billionaire, right? And so, all the money is being made in the markets. Like that's where everybody else take their money once they make it. They take it to the market. So why is not where we're parking our money at if that's where everybody else getting their money? Don't make no sense.
Well, it's funny though. I mean, again, Jimmy brought up misinformation, right? All of us are hip hop heads on the panel tonight. Dame Dash. I think all of us are kind of Dame Dash-ish fans, a little bit, at least a little bit. But Dame is one who has a big voice, and he gets a lot of attention on him, and he routinely talks about how the stock market's trash. And he constantly kind of applies this street mentality to money, which I get because he's trying to simplify things and make it easy for everybody. And he talks about how you don't have control over your money when you're in the stock market. And I always look at that and I say, man, you are misleading a lot of people when you make the statement out there.
Well, here's the thing, though. Does he have full understanding of what's what, right? And he always talk because his thing is small business, right? He wants control, but that's a whole different aspect, right?
Yep.
That's a whole different aspect. But at the end of the day, when again, like I said, just look at the Forbes list and you'll see where all the real wealth lies in this country. It's in the market, right? A rich guy once told me before, we were talking about real estate because I'm a real estate guy. He says, the quickest way to make $1 million is real estate. And what he told me was, he said, real estate creates more millionaires than anybody. He said, but once you get there, in order to get to the next level, he said, the stock market is where you get the 10 million, the 100 million. He said, and the stock market creates billionaires while real estate, even in the real estate game, the biggest real estate folks aren't the ones that own the mom and pop rental properties. They're the ones that have scaled up to the point where they, have a REIT or something of that nature. So, this is where the wealth is in this country because it's part of the system. When you buy the S&P 500, essentially what you're buying is America, right?
The 500 biggest companies by revenue in this country.
So, I mean, and that's the thing. The thing about it is this thing doesn't really have to be complicated. You can go buy the S&P and go chill. Go find out ways to make more income to buy more of it, right?
And so, real quick, Jimmy, let's just slow down for a minute for anybody that we don't want to leave nobody behind. Corey just said it. The S&P 500 is the 500 biggest companies in America. You can all buy them kind of in a basket. You can buy them through mutual funds. You can buy them through ETFs. And guess what? You only need $1 to do it. It's not like back in the day when you needed $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 to get into the market. You really only need $1 to start. I'm not saying that's where everybody has to start, but I'm saying that's literally the barrier to entry at this point.
Yeah.
And so why not? And I see a lot of people that are dogging savings accounts these days. They're dogging savings accounts and they're saying you should move your money into life insurance. So I always find those people interesting, but they never mention the stock market. So everybody's always trying to sell something, but they never.
I'm about to say because they're not getting paid to mention the stock market, right? Because the liquidity, liquidity has value, right? Because one of the reasons why some people don't choose real estate is because it's illiquid sometimes. Because if your credit score is jacked, I know people who got millions of dollars in real estate that can't get no money because it's illiquid because their credit is jacked to hell. So. You know what I mean? Like part of this has to be about liquidity, right? And because of technology, everything is so those other markets are more liquid. Not that real estate is illiquid; it's just illiquid to some people.
Well, you gotta understand how to play that. I was talking about this on our Friday show. Like, my new thing is when I get a piece of rental property, I'm getting a HELOC on everything.
Again, you have to have a certain credit score.
No, I understand that.
No, I'm just saying I got offered a HELOC at the bank the other day. I got 3 properties. They were offering me a HELOC on all of them, and he asked me what my credit score was, and I was like, "Nah, HELOC worthy." not at the rate where y'all was, I can get the HELOC, but not at the rate where I wanted it. You know what I mean? And so it's about making sure that, like I said, it's a little bit about, liquidity. It's not to say that real estate is not liquid. It's just you have to follow a certain different rules to have it be.
But liquidity is a whole conversation because some people don't need to be liquid.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like
that's true.
Well, I know what Jimmy means, but I laugh at that because cash really is king. But
no,
I know exactly.
Cash flow is king, not cash. Cash flow is
cash king. And cash flow is king, Corey. We're not doing this today.
We are.
Because
that statement is goofy because cash is not even going to exist. Goofy. Cash is not going to even exist in the way it exists within the next 5 to 10 years. Right now, the way cash exists is not even going to exist that way.
Here's my argument, right? So I kind of agree with Corey, but I was always taught cash flow is king, cash is queen. But the thing is, because of inflation, cash can't be king. I'd rather have the cash flow so then I can keep it moving and moving. Cash itself loses value. I mean, it just loses value. It loses purchasing
over time. It just loses value. Inflation says cash loses value over time.
Yeah, but we really don't have an inflation problem, right? So we're really
Whoa.
Hold on. I let y'all talk. Let me get my shot. Right. Okay. Here's the thing. Most people in America cannot handle a $400 emergency. So when we start talking about cash ain't king, cash flow is king, you still need a bucket of money.
How do you get to that bucket?
Yes. Can you?
How do you get to that bucket?
Hold on, finish, Corey.
I can't finish.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So let's not act like having $1 billion in cash isn't powerful. You brought up Buffett earlier. He's got a boatload of cash, or what they call dry powder. He can fire that thing off in any minute. And y'all just said it. There is value to liquidity. Now, if we want to get into the nuance of things, everybody's situation is going to be different. Right. But to sit here and say that cash or cash flow, whichever way you want to do it, isn't powerful, I think we're missing.
Cash is a position. Cash is a position. I'm not disputing that cash is a position. But once you're available cash flow is past the point where you need it for something specific, you need to be putting that money to work.
Well, I would say 90% of our audience isn't at that point.
Let me chime in though, because the thing about Buffett, I actually did a presentation this afternoon, and I did some research for it. So he has 30% of the holdings of their entity, a little over 30% of the holdings in cash. But at that scale, his cash is still creating cash flow.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? So let's be clear. He's still creating cash flow from that cash. But the thing about it is your idea of the $400 emergency, that's a real statistic. Which is funny because if you spend a lot of time on social media, you think that everybody got money, but when you look at the data, it's different. Someone told me the other day, they was like, man, you wouldn't think that the average income in Atlanta is $38K, but that's what it is when you go online because everybody's balling. But
got some Lambos in the parking lot.
Hey, listen, man, but the thing is, the data is real, right? So you always have your outliers, but when you talk about the whole, as it pertains to our community as a whole, we're still far behind. So the conversation of cash flow and cash, I mean, we can go in there for days, but the fact of the matter is we need to have savings, but we also have to understand how your savings is being eroded because we can't just save. Because what I find in my work is we have people that are great savers, but they never go past that. I've talked to multiple people this year, Black folks who work hard, that have 6 figures in savings account because they are scared to do anything else. Literally in savings account in the bank. I'm talking liquid 6 figures. And
I know a lot of those too, but I know far more people who don't have any savings, and it's scary.
No, you're right. Overall, you're right. But what I'm saying is, so it's a complex conversation because we definitely have to have more savings, but we also have to understand that your savings is being eroded. We have to understand both because we have people in both buckets. Now your bucket might be bigger, yes.
Right. And that's why we always say personal finance is personal. So when we're talking here, we're talking general and broad. And that's why I will stick with cash is king all day long, because that is the first axiom of finance. Cash is king. You can't do anything. Like even with a lot of folks that talk about the power of credit. Credit is very powerful. At the end of the day, you still need the cash to pay for whatever credit you've used. And nobody talks about that, which drives me crazy. But let's jump back into these comments because we got a lot of comments out here. All right. Monica says, okay, I think she mentioned that before. All right. GC says the majority of the billionaires I see got their wealth from businesses, not just investing. I still think that black people are way behind on VC.
No, you don't have to think. It's 99% of that money go to white people. So let's just be very, very clear.
Well, is he talking about VC from what standpoint? In terms of getting revenue to build their business, or are you talking about us actually being VCs?
I think you could go from it at all those angles.
Yeah, you can go whatever angle you want. Most of the money is coming from the same place.
All right, so
been coming because
it's context to that too, right? So, like you when you're an accredited investor, you get all kinds of offers and all kinds of craziness, right? So my wife and I have invested and still do invest in pre-IPO companies, right? But the one thing I'll tell you about that is you have to have revenue to do that, because a lot of that is, I don't want to call it dead money, but those things need time to really cook. They need time to really cook. Most of our people don't have that ability because we don't have the basics. We don't have $400 for an emergency. We don't have any real estate. We don't have a portfolio to begin with. So a lot of us are behind in the VC space from an investment standpoint because we don't have capital to be able to sit there and wait 10 years. We just can't do that.
And that's where the vesting schedule is for a lot of these VCs and hedge funds. But also, folks need to also understand VC space, venture capital space, PE, private equity space, right? A lot of that money comes from pension funds. So, you have these VC, PE firms, they go out and source money from pensions, other corporations, in terms of their cash management programs and things like that. And we don't necessarily have access to that money because we're not players in that arena. So it's a little rough. It's a little rough. All right. Adrian's here. How you doing, Adrian? All right. GC says you have Nancy Pelosi placing multi-billion-dollar option trades. Fact. All right. Monica says the lack of trust in the government makes it hard for some of us, but too big to fail is a thing. These politicians will create legislation to protect themselves
every single day of the week.
Yep. And that's a fact. And I just want to bring this up real quick. I wanted to talk about it a little bit deeper. I thought Courtney was here. But when she gets here, or when she comes, I definitely want to talk about this. But there are a whole slew of federal judges that got caught breaking the law. Now, it's a real nuanced thing, but how did they get caught breaking the law? Well, they invested in companies, and they also sat over trials where their investments created a conflict of interest, and they didn't recuse themselves. So this is like over, I want to say 143 folks, 131 judges broke the laws by hearing cases where they have investments. I want to bring up this real quick. Now, some of it was kind of harmless. Some of it, though, was a bit shady. A bit shady. And what's crazy is a lot of these judges didn't even know the law. So there was a law that was created many, many years ago, right after Nixon left office. And these folks didn't realize how it came about and weren't following the rules. So 131 federal judges broke the law by hearing cases where they had a financial interest. The judges failed to recuse themselves from 685 lawsuits from 2010 to 2018 involving firms in which they or their family had shares. a Wall Street Journal investigation found. Now, some of this stuff is like, again, really obscure because the judge and let's say the judge's wife may have, or the judge's wife may have a trust and they have maybe McDonald's stock in a trust. And then the judge actually hears a case which involves McDonald's. Well, clearly that's a conflict of interest. But a lot of times the judge decided, well, they didn't know, or their wife handled the investments and they didn't know about it. So it's really interesting, and that just goes to show everything ain't right. Everything.
I find it funny when they say, "Well, we don't know, like we didn't know."
Hey, they tell you in a second that not knowing ain't an excuse when it comes to the law.
You're quick to tell us that ignorance of the law, right? There's not an excuse, right?
No, there's not.
They'll run you down for that.
Yeah, that's insane. That's really insane, man. But I mean, look at the historically. This is what happens.
Man, that's really what's been going down.
Yep. All right. So J.A. says we are not privy to all the ways of making money from Wall Street. The problem is black entrepreneurship, like the conscious community, is the new black church. We got gurus promising fortunes by buying their course, even though the bulk of the money comes from seeking or selling the course. Forex MLM is on social media, spreading like a sexually transmitted disease. How are they supposed to trust that?
You know,
I think you make a great point, J.A. I think you make a great point. It's rough on both sides, right? But I say this: more financial education helps to weed out a lot of these issues. But a lot of us really don't want to take the time to learn and learn from real people who do this every day for years and years and years. Not people that just have a great following on social media and that just popped up and said, hey, this stock market trading thing looks really, really sexy. And I think I can sell a lot of courses from it. And they've never talked about investments a day in their life. So, I think the educational part on the consumer side is important. Jimmy and Corey will tell you I absolutely hate scammers, like vehemently, because I feel they do a disservice to our community.
No, absolutely. I mean, so people have to be vetted, and you have to understand who you're getting information from. Yeah. But with that being said, there are people that are doing good work out there, and at least we're having conversations now. The internet has made the world smaller, so we're having conversations now that we weren't having before. But with that being said, there's still a lot of bad information out there. There's nothing to do with that. You got to take the good with the bad. But believe it or not, and like I saw some of the comments too, right? And this is something that I go back and forth with people about all the time. I had a long conversation with people on our IG page this past week because I think it was GC that said it when he talked about the internet. Like everybody has the internet, so some people just don't want to learn. And I think that a lot of times, because some of us who are more conscious or who do understand, who are investors, I think a lot of times we live in a bubble and we just think that everybody knows or everybody has access to the internet. So someone told me that this week, like, if you make minimum wage, that's on you. Like the internet is there. You can figure out ways to make more. You can figure out ways to invest. And what I was telling them is a lot of people don't have the internet.
Yeah, like they're not.
Real quick, hold on. In Philadelphia, 32% of our population don't have the internet. And there are certain neighborhoods in Philadelphia where that number gets as high as 68%. And guess which neighborhoods those are? It was a big problem when the pandemic hit of trying to do homeschooling because a lot of people didn't have internet access. So we sit and say like everybody has the internet, but no, we really don't. A lot of us don't have the internet. And in my work, because I'm in spaces where, talking to people of a certain income level, I realized that at the end of the day, most people want happy and healthy lives. They want what's best for their family. Some people have resources, some don't. Obviously, you have people who are just, on their own thing. But there's a lot of poor people who want to do better and don't have access to the information, don't know any better. But it's funny. I was talking to Russ today. Me and Russ were having a conversation, and I actually was bringing up something Corey told me a long time ago. And Corey wasn't lying. Corey said, yo, I think people may hate poor people worse than black people, but they hate both of them. So if you black and you poor, You really are. You really people really hate you. People really hate you. So, but we have to like sometimes have some empathy. So a lot of our folks do deal with not wanting to do better. But there's a lot of people that want to do better, don't have good information, don't have access to good information, and they're dealing with all kinds of other stuff. So we have to do a better job of actually like touching those folks.
I agree. I mean, I totally agree, especially with the empathy part, which leads from the love part that we always talk about. You and Corey probably talk about that the most, right? But some of these comments that we see from folks talking about, people need to get a job or they can go to the library. It's not always that easy, especially if you're working a minimum wage job that has set hours. The library is usually closed at 5 o'clock or whatever time it is. It's not always the most accessible thing.
I never heard of that term, but that's a term, digital poverty. Sheesh.
Yeah. And so this is a study here from the Brookings Institute where it's talking about neighborhood broadband data. Makes it clear we need an agenda to fight digital poverty. Now, I noticed we're talking about the stock market, so don't be lost by this, right? We're talking about all the issues that impact our communities as well and how our communities are not able to get on the stock market. And so many of us, again, don't have access to internet, as Jimmy so eloquently just said.
Digital poverty. Sheesh. Thank you for the term.
Yeah, so my wife was working with the school district this year and the Parents Association to try to cut some of that down, and they actually got some funds from Comcast to help a lot of those families out because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
lots of schools couldn't actually serve the kids, and so they she got with the Home and School Association with the school district and helped to help a lot of families through Comcast, where they were charging them $0, and they was actually bringing out the equipment and putting it together for them, so the kids could do doing homework during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, right?
And they had to create special programs so that kids could literally be in school.
It's crazy. All right, GC says that the same folks that don't trust these markets turn around and talk about how billionaires are doing blah, blah, blah. That's a fact, too.
No, he's right there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fact there. Again, I don't know if it's Jimmy or Corey just said it right. Education is needed on all sides, and particularly on our side, right? And when I say our, we're talking about Black folks. So we can see how to leverage these situations. So we can create more wealth for ourselves, our family, and our community, because that just creates a stronger community. Now, I think there's something to be said, though. A lot of folks aren't community minded also. So once they get that bag, they like deuces and I'm out.
Hallelujah.
So, there's something to be said about a lot of that. But, I love the stock market. I think the stock market is awesome because it doesn't care about your sex, gender, religion, age, for the most part. All they care about if you got the money to put the trade in and who's on the other side.
That's the same reason I love crypto. It's the same. It functions the same way, but except for it's
a little
even
more
better.
anonymity.
Huh?
More anonymity.
Yeah. You don't even have to, you literally can take out loans and do all of that stuff. You don't even have to tell them who you are. Do you have assets? Yes. You can take out loans. You can do X, Y. The contract will allow you to do it. Technology could even the playing field for a lot of people if we could get to the technology. That's what I'm saying. The technology is there to level part of the playing field, and we don't have any access to that because we don't know.
Digital
poverty. This is a gem drop right here. Thank you, Monica. Building wealth takes patience. It's absolute fact.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get stuck. See, people mistake patience for they get
complacency.
Not even complacency. They get they want to analyze until they get paralyzed in analysis by paralysis, right? They keep analyzing, and they don't do anything. And you know what I mean? They find all of the things that's wrong with it, but they don't look at what's right.
Again, we're talking about the stock market. We're talking about our community. I'm still having conversations with people that don't want to invest in their 401k plan because they heard some real estate guru tell them that 401k plans are a scam. And it's just
That's matched money. Like, especially if you get any kind of match, that's 100%. Whatever they're matching, you're getting 100% on that money.
And then they hit you with the, I'm not gonna be able to touch it until I'm, and I'm like, but
that's actually a good thing. A lot of times,
yeah, sometimes it's a good thing, but there's ways. Like, there's always ways. That's why you have to study.
Yeah, about there's always ways. And
listen,
man, listen. People full of it, man. People full of it.
But again, that's because they're listening to someone without, like, that's why I don't even believe in, like, I tell people, don't even trust me. You know what I'm saying? Don't even trust me. Learn to do research. You know what I'm saying? Learn to do research.
I mean, you can trust us, but you should only trust us to the point where you've done your own research.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, like Google anything that we say. Google it.
Listen, man.
Google it.
Listen, man. A prolific writer named Sean Jacobs once said, "You got to plan for your future because you figure you're gonna be older way longer than you're gonna be younger."
Absolutely.
Yeah, shout to Sheik Luch. But so that's why we have to make sure we do our research.
Yeah. So Don says success leaves clues.
Absolutely.
GC, plus it's harder to teach an old dog new tricks.
For sure.
I hate that term, even though he's right. I hate that term because I do believe people who want to learn, no matter the age, will learn. But I get it. I get it.
Habits take long time to form, so they also take a long time to break.
Yes,
so,
they do.
It's the same.
All right, so GC says they've been operating under a certain mentality for a long time. I don't go back and forth with them. I just do what I do. And a few times things happen in the markets, we'll reach a news channel. Yep. All right, GC also says, then they would call me and ask for some advice on whatever I told them about years.
Oh man, that's all. That's every day. Every day, B.
Yes.
Every day.
All right, where are we at? All right, there's Monica there. All right, we are a huge consumer group. The stock market is one way for us to benefit from that consumerism. Facts. Whatever we're spending money on, we shouldn't be investing in broadly, right? This is just theory. It's not always application because there are some trash companies out here that people buy.
I would venture to say that more companies are trash than are good.
All right, GC says, yeah, but even a step further than just the stock market, I think more black people need to get in the VC. The people really making insane returns are people participating in series funding.
This is all factual.
Yeah, even if the business isn't profitable, people will still buy the stocks, and you can even exit before the company goes under and makes amazing returns.
But that goes back to what Jimmy said. How long can you sit your money down?
Right.
Until we get to that point.
Yeah.
Facts.
And that's why when we talk, that's why it's like different conversations. Some folks that have capital definitely should be in that space. But so many of our folks don't have capital. They got to get the basics down. It's like that's a 3-pointer, but they don't even know how to dribble yet.
But here's the thing. The crazy thing is more of these platforms, I won't say no names, are making pre-IPO shares available to regular everyday investors. And I think that's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, that's terrible. Because
listen, but like I said,
even
with those platforms, though, do you have capital that you can sit still when that capital could be creating cash flow for you to create more and more wealth? So, you know.
All right, GC says if access to the internet nowadays ain't no excuse for you to be ignorant unless you choose to be. I know everybody done at least heard about crypto, stocks, Forex, or some business ad before. But everybody's not on social media either. So,
well, that's kind of what I was speaking to. That, you know, a lot of us don't have access. A lot of us don't have internet access. Like that's the one thing. So yeah, man. It was what was the name of that book? But it was a book written by a brother out of Baltimore, and that was kind of his point. It was like, you know, we live in bubbles. Because this boy I gotta find his name because the book was amazing. It's an amazing book. But what he was saying is in some of the neighborhoods in Baltimore that he worked at, and he's a university professor now, he was like he would come in and, you know, be talking to him about stuff that's talked about at the university or things that they saw online. They was like, what are you talking about? Like,
yep.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you're talking about the internet. Like, we're not on the internet. Like,
we out in the streets for real. literally out in the streets.
All right, so JA says Total Risk Premium Puzzle came out in 2019. I finally answered the question about whether the stock market or real estate is better in the long term. Based on risk, it was determined that real estate is better over the long run. However, I agree, after you have established real estate, you can take risk so you can play in the stock market. I would actually debate that it might not be better, and it depends on which level of real estate you're at to make that.
Yeah,
real estate has cycles just like the stock market has. And if you, as a personal investor, right? Every real estate investor doesn't have 10, 20 properties. They most have 1, 2, or 3. And they get a bad tenant that really wrecks their properties. Kiss
because
that
they don't follow the tenets of saving, investing, paying the taxes on the property, putting money up in case something happens to the property. Like, they're not responsible. So irresponsible people are everywhere, right?
Listen,
in every piece.
I don't take income from property. All my money from the properties is to get reinvested back into either saving for an emergency or invested into a different asset class. But what I will say is this. What I will say is this though. I don't think there is a best. Like in the words of Nasir Jones, ain't no best, right? And the reason that it's not a best is because it all depends upon your personal situations.
I was talking about the risk premium point.
No, but even that, right? So it all depends upon your perspective, right?
It does. But again, if we look at it over time,
They're
right?
talking about money over time.
Right.
They talk about
you can literally
over time.
You can literally put money in the stock market, like you said earlier, Jimmy and Corey, in the S&P 500 and do nothing, and you'll make money. Can't do that when you're investing in real estate.
Absolutely not. You can't, right? So over time,
that's what I was talking about.
No, listen, man. Over time, everything regresses to the mean, and the fact of the matter is, the S&P outperforms real estate by far over time. Now, another thing is this: what I mean by being personal, it's about your perspective and where you sit. Like, the only job I really had in corporate America was working for J&J, and when I always tell the story because it taught me a lot. Going through this, when I worked for J&J, there were middle managers who got options on stock, right? And they were literally multimillionaires, and they went to work every day, 9 to 5, but they were multimillionaires because of those stock options they had in the company back then. And I would talk about real estate, and they would laugh at me like, what the hell you mean? Why do I want to buy rental property and deal with tenants and all that when I could sit here, come to work, and do what I like to do, and get J&J shares that are paying dividends and just growing and growing and growing? You talk about free money
at a discount.
Exactly. So they would look at real estate investing as like, why? Yeah. To me, they would literally look at it as why. But on the flip side, I know real estate investors, I'd be like, look, why? You got to go work at that job. I ain't trying to do all. So your perspective, and it all depends upon what you have access to, right? You know, if I work for JP Morgan and I got equity shares that pay dividends, then I don't care about the market. And again, the biggest real estate investors, right? If you look at IMVH, if you look at BlackRock or Blackstone, both of the blacks, they're
Sam Zell. Sam Zell.
Sam Zell, equity, what is it? EQR, equity residential, EQR. Sam Zell is the biggest real estate investor in the entire world, bar none. And his money's in the market. He took all his properties and built on top of that, but he took it to the market. His ticker symbol is EQR, I believe, not investment advice. But he started from buying rental properties where, students would reside. That's where he started. But he scaled up and he got to the point and took it all to the stock market because now he's a multi-billionaire because of that. So, yeah.
Man, listen, you know me. I was telling you, I know 2 people who made their first $1 million working at Walmart.
Yep.
Because of stock options. I was like, damn.
Now, again, everybody doesn't have access to that, but that's why I said it depends upon your situation. I know people that work in government that have deferred compensation and drop tons of money there. And after a decade, they're sitting good.
Yep. Thanks. I know a couple millionaires that were in the military. They took that military money and broke it off, ruled something crazy. And
what's that book, The Millionaire Barber or something like that?
Yeah, there's a couple. I want to read this comment real quick because it's funny. Gregory Loper, what's up to you, bro? I'm going to apply for my ELOC when I get my taxes done. Laughing.
Shout to Greg, man. That's the bro.
Yeah, man.
All right, so GC says I'm talking about black people being VCs. Yeah,
yep.
I'll say this though, GC. We don't even have to go that route. We don't have to go that big. We can just start forming our own pools of capital and investing in our own companies. The only reason I make that distinction is because VCs is a strict designation that the SEC is going to be on top of, right? But if you're a small firm and you're under a certain threshold, you can operate as a VC without VC standing. So people can do it. I think it's a great idea to do it.
Real quick, the name of that book is called is by a brother named D. Watkins, a black brother out of Baltimore. It's called "We Speak for Ourselves: How Woke Culture Prohibits Progress." But a lot of what he talks about is a lot of us who are on the internet all day live in this internet bubble and don't even understand what goes on a day-to-day on the streets. But his name is D. Watkins. It's called "We Speak for Ourselves." But that was one part of it, like the digital divide.
Do we need to do a book review, Jimmy?
Oh, listen, man, the brother.
Is that on Audible?
It is Audible. Shout out to D. Watkins, man. We follow each other on social media, man. That's my guy. But the book is fire.
All right. So Monica says access to the internet doesn't mean you're assessing accurate information, and the algorithms show you things that are related to your searches, facts. Those that know need to share the information.
Yep.
All right. GC says, Monica, your search, which means that you choose what you search. Yeah. But what she's talking about, GC, is that it's hard to get out of that search pattern once Google has it. And so you can do it. You can be I was about to say incognito. Yeah. You can do an incognito search on Chrome at least, and you'll get a generic search. But let's not act like the power of advertising and suggestion is not real. And again, not making excuses, just acknowledging the stuff that's going on in the room. All right. So Monica says, yes, but if you're not thinking about the stock market or investing, I wouldn't search for it. Facts. Word of mouth is still the best way to get info out. Those that know got to do better at sharing the info. Well, listen, I know Corey and Jimmy do it on the By the Hood podcast. I know I do it on the Finance Rebel Show. Plug both of those podcasts, put them in, tune in and listen. But, you know, I'll say this. I find it absolutely crazy that many of the scam artists who have perfected the art of scamming get way more followers than anybody else. They're great marketers, sure, but the folks that actually have real information and have real integrity and character, a lot of times don't get the shine. Speaking of which, the scam busters in the building. What's up, Pocket Watch on JT?
JT, what's goody?
Year was really popping.
I couldn't have played that any better. Monica says I agree with that also. I just think that
well, GC is speaking.
What's that?
You said Monica says that was GC's comment.
That was GC's comment saying that he agreed with mine.
No. Got you. Thank you. Or okay, Monica says, or we don't know how to do better. There are still a lot of people that think only rich people can invest.
Yo, that's my family. People in my family be telling me that. Man, you gotta be rich to invest in the market. Like, no, you don't.
You need $1, really. $1.
Man. It's real out here.
All right, so Samuel says, I watch your By the Hood Friday show last year with Kamari. You guys did your top 5 stocks. What are your top 5 ETFs?
I actually have a top 5 ETFs. If you guys, I don't know if you guys do. If you want to be, you got top 5, Kamari?
I got a semblance of a top 5.
It's funny because Monica and I had this conversation this afternoon, like not knowing this would come up.
I have a top 5.
All right, one of y'all go first then. Corey, you go first. No, you're gonna steal one of my picks, man.
We gonna have a few similar picks because they're just good. They're just good.
But I have a top 5 because the funny thing is I only have 5, like personally, and I'll tell you exactly what I have and why I have it. So right. Corey, you already know mine's anyway because I talk about it damn near every day.
Ours are not the same. They're similar, but not the same.
All right, Kamar, you go first then, man.
No, y'all go first.
All right, so I'll do this. I'll go first. So, top is.
Oh, this is not investment advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We are not saying to buy anything. This is us talking about our perspectives and what we own. This is not investment advice.
Yeah, don't just go buy it because you heard us say it.
Trading involves risk. Investing involves risk. Please talk to your financial advisor or financial professional. Now go ahead, Corey.
Hold on, real quick. Can somebody actually write that? Somebody in the audience, write that and put it in the comments, please. This is not investment advice.
GC put it in the comments, man.
Oh, he did. All right, my man.
He put it in caps for you too. Not investment advice at all.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Corey.
All right, so one is VDC.
Biter.
Hey, easy.
I'm joking, man. I'm joking. Go ahead. Listen, bro. You know it's all love. Go ahead, though.
Then either XLK or VTI, whichever one, that's the technology one, depending upon whether you like State Street or Vanguard.
No, VTI on Vanguard is a total stock market index, I think.
Oh yeah. Not whatever the one is on VU, not VU. What's the one on Vanguard?
VGT is which one you talking about? For which
the technology? The
VGT. VGT is a tech one.
Yeah, VGT. So it's XLK is the same as VGT. I like so it's VDC, the XLK VGT one. I like the VTI, which is the total stock market index. Where we're going to differ at, I like XOXL, which is everybody else likes. So that one is a semiconductor one. I love that. I love it. That's just one of my favorites. And then I like QYLD, right? Which is it's a covered call. It's a covered call that follows the S&P 500, and so I like it because it pays out at about 10% a year, and it follows my favorite thing to track, which is the S&P 500. So instead of me buying VU or something like that, I would buy QYLD. So those are my top 5.
Sweet. All right, Jimmy, it's on you.
All right, so I'm gonna start with this, right? So, if I only had to buy one, it probably would be VU. Honestly, because VU tracks the S&P 500. Yep. So, and even and I'll give it away. I mean, everybody doesn't have our course. Part of our course, we talk about if you don't want to get into the point of picking individual stocks, you could pick a 3-fund portfolio and roll with that. And one of the ones we suggest is VU. I like VU better than VTI because VTI is weighted anyway. So majority of it is VU. So I'd rather just have VU. So VU would be my number 1 overall. Now, my other 4, and again, I wouldn't say VU is my favorite. If I had to buy one, it would be VU. My absolute favorite is MGK, which is also Vanguard. And by the way, all 5 of mine are Vanguard. Because I love low expense ratios, and Vanguard tends to have the lowest expense ratios out of anyone else.
They won that war.
Yeah, and Corey is wilding with SOXL. I know why he likes it, but that's 3 times leverage. So please be careful if this is not investment advice. But so VU, MGK, VDC, which is consumer defensive. The top holdings are like P&G, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi. So I like to have that to balance out. MGK is a growth. It's a Vanguard growth. But the reason I like MGK as my favorite is because it has all of the FANG stocks. And the reason I like MGK more than VGT is because MGK has all the FANGs, but MGK actually has less holdings. So you get more of those companies as opposed to VGT. I think MGK, last I checked, had 111 companies in the entire ETF. Yep. So VU, MGK, VDC, VFH will be another one. So VFH is Vanguard Financials. And I know a lot of folks in the crypto community get mad because I still invest in banks, but I believe that banks are never going anywhere. They are the cabal. They still rob and they cheat, and they'll be around.
Right.
So I'm going to buy VFH, which includes the biggest banks in the world, the JP Morgans, the Wells Fargos, the Chases. And it's kind of an income play at the same time. So VFH. And my 5th and final will be VNQ. And VNQ is the Vanguard ETF for real estate. Right? So the top REITs within the country are all in VNQ. So instead of me trying to pick which one to win, I'll grab VNQ. So those are the 5 ETFs that make my top 5.
Now, Jimmy, you got to be careful with that VNQ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certain with that VNQ, you're going to have a whole bunch of prison stocks, which treat our brothers and sisters poorly.
I mean, here's the thing about that. If you buy VU or VTI, you're going to have prison stocks.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're going to have a big concentration of them because you're specific to real estate. I get that. But the thing is, if you're buying VTI, you're going to have it. You're buying VU, you're going to have it. But I get your point. You're saying Yep, I got it. And that's no shade, by the way, to folks, because some stuff you can't get away from it, Sam.
You bought a SPY, guess what?
Yeah, you got it. All right, so I only have 3 because these 3 kind of, I think, encompasses everything I like. So my first one is VT. I tell people to buy VT if you don't have any other stock picks that you want.
Is that VTI or just VT?
VT. So VT is the world. So
okay.
World. Right. So it's got everything. It's got the whole world. VTI is definitely US heavy.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. But I do like VTI because as the world, there's a lot of developed and underdeveloped markets that will have some bangers come out of them, good performers that you won't even be thinking about. The other one I like is PFF. PFF is probably something y'all never even thought about. It's a preferred stock ETF. It doesn't move that much, even during volatile times. So that's why I like it again.
Yep, it's a protection.
Right. But it's always paying cash, right? So once you get that cash coming in, you can always redeploy it and do other things with it. I like that. And then I like XLE, even though an XLE is the
energy joint.
The energy joint. It pays a great dividend, right? And I don't think energy is going anywhere. Even with all the green maneuvering.
Energy companies right behind banks. As far as running the world, energy companies are right behind banks.
Because they're going to maneuver to accommodate for green technologies as well.
Yeah.
So those are the ones I like. If I had to pick 3, I would do an equal weighted portfolio on that. Not investment advice again.
At all.
Right? Because again, there's certain reasons why you invest in certain things. You need to understand your investing personality as well. So think about that before you buy anything.
Man, watch your expense ratios, people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I definitely love the Vanguard ETFs.
Vanguard is where it's at, baby.
They're not the sexiest, but what I found, right? You don't really need to be sexy.
Jim just said that you don't gotta be cool to make money. You just gotta put the money.
You just gotta find, because the trick to all this is to find ways to make more income, right? Because then you can pick. So those 5 funds are literally that's a majority of my holdings. Like I don't even believe in buying that many individual stocks. I do have some individual stocks. I got less than 5 or 10 individual stocks. I'm heavy into those because that's where the long-term wealth is generated. You know what I'm saying? Real estate and those ETFs and crypto. But
I started to put a post up the other day on Twitter. I was going to say, listen, I need somebody to take record of this. Holler at me in about 10, 20 years. Let me know who made more money, the traders or the investors.
Every time it's going to be the investors.
Every time. The only reason to trade is to get money to put into your long-term investments.
Some people don't believe that, but I feel you.
I mean, listen. One thing I know about life, everything regresses to the mean, right? So I've been doing this long enough in real estate.
You're using those SAT words. Break it down for people, Jimmy.
No, listen. Mean being average. Everything always comes back to the average, right? So people are riding high right now in all these different asset classes, but to understand that everything regresses to the. I've seen this before. I've seen it in 01. I've seen it in 08. I've saw people in 06, 07 who were like were acting crazy. Couldn't tell them that they weren't geniuses. And then 08 hit, and I know people that like try to take their life. The same people that were geniuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to understand everything regresses to the mean. You're not as good as you think, and you're not as bad as you think either. It's somewhere in the middle, right? So just understand this. But that's why I find it funny when I'm online every day and I see these folks like, these quote unquote gurus. I'm like, I've seen this play out before. A lot of the gurus from 06, 07 who were selling real estate courses are now pastors. And I'm going to leave it at that.
So they were selling courses. Now they selling plates.
Hey,
So,
listen,
okay.
man. I
And
I don't want the church folks to cuss me out, but I know a lot of people who were hustlers in various fields, and that's where they at right now. But I'm gonna leave that alone. I ain't trying to get cooked.
Listen, man, Black Jesus loves everybody. All right. So Monica says people think poor is contagious for sure.
Man,
They do. They do. We got to embrace our poor, man. We got to have empathy and try to help folks, man. We spend too much time like talking down about each other, man.
So, but there's a conversation to be had about that, right?
Okay.
Jimmy, you always talk about finding your tribe, right?
Yes.
There are some people who don't want to do better. And
no, absolutely. No, absolutely.
There are miserable people. Yes. Those people.
Yes, they are.
I mean, I'm going to treat them less than. Or
that's the point. That's the point.
Deny their humanity.
That's the point.
We can't rock with everybody.
You can't rock with everybody, but the world is big enough where you could put them over here and don't have to deal with them.
Right.
A lot of times we find ourselves like disrespecting or shading people
because step on their neck just
because we want to feel better about ourselves.
Right. So I hope nobody finds any shade in that, because there was no shade in that statement. But you know, I rock with Jimmy and Corey because they challenge me. Right? They challenge me. I don't need to be around yes folks.
Yeah.
I need to be around people who are looking at some of the same things I'm seeing and might have a different perspective on it.
And y'all better believe Kamari challenge you. Kamari can know I'm dead right, and Kamari gonna challenge me anyway.
But can articulate themselves and not slander you, right? Because me and Jimmy, we go back and forth all the time. A lot of it's in love. Some of it's fun. Some of it's serious. But at least in my mind, there's never no real slander, right? There's no put down. It's all facts, right? It's all love. And the same with Jimmy and Corey, right? Same with Courtney, same with Tracy. We all challenge each other. So get y'all crew that'll challenge y'all.
Oh, yeah, we definitely push back. But I'm going to tell y'all, though, Kamari will argue about anything. Kamari, I tell you,
depends
Kamari,
on the day.
You should have been the attorney because you want to turn everything into a debate.
Listen, I tell folks all the time, I used to love watching LA Law.
You want to be Blair Underwood?
Yeah,
listen, that brother don't age, man. I want to be Blair Underwood.
We got something new.
All the ladies.
Kamari wants to be Blair Underwood.
I did want to go to law school. Actually, I'd still think about it to this day. But guess what? I got to find somebody to pay that tuition if I'm going to think about it. I can't take no more student loans. I can't do it. All right. So Monica says, I think Comcast did an admirable job before and during the pandemic to get low-cost internet to communities. Yes, I agree, because I can't give them gold stars on much, but on that, I feel they did that right.
No, they did. I think that's important to point out because we slander them like pretty much anytime they do anything stupid. So they were out here during the pandemic, like at least in Philadelphia. I know they were.
Even like she said before, because they did that whole low-cost internet thing beforehand, and so they were kind of in front of it.
Yeah. You know how some of our folks was like, who in my family can I get this new internet?
Oh, listen, man. It was families out here that didn't have no internet. Like the kids was using
phones and all that.
Yeah, they was trying to get phones. They wasn't even using their own phones. They was borrowing phones from neighbors so that they can log into courses and so that they can get on the internet, or they was getting, the internet password from their neighbor. You know what I mean? And listen, they was doing whatever they could.
It was rough out here, man.
Listen, man, the pandemic was really real. You know what I mean? And so I gotta say, Comcast showed they pine parts, man, and really got out here and helped the people, man.
They stepped out.
Yep. All right, so real quick, y'all. You're watching the Blackwell Project. If you're just now joining, I'm Kamari. We got Jimmy and Corey with us tonight. Every week we talk about Black wealth issues, right? Whether it be politics, money, investing, real estate, crypto. We talk about it all. So make sure y'all tune us in and come back every Sunday at 7 p.m. Now, today's question: do you know what your financial freedom number is?
And by the way,
comment.
I want you to let you know, Kamari, I see that decoded book displayed prominently back there. I just want you to know I see that.
Every time we're on, you mention it, right? So I know some more Jay-Z slander is coming, but it's cool.
No Jay-Z slander. I was just saying, I'm just letting you know I picked up on it. You got the decoded book, you know what I mean? Like, so
you said that before, though.
I should know that I shouldn't be criticizing.
I don't mind it. I mean, again, I'm gonna say this right. Jimmy's talking about a post I put up. Oftentimes I put up posts to just challenge folks. I mean, it's not about right or wrong, but here's the thing. Jimmy just talked about it, the Brothers Book. We live in bubbles. And if we're always in our bubble and we never talk to other people in their bubbles and we never challenge each other, again, respectfully, we're never going to progress. We're going to
how do you get better?
spot.
No, that's true.
Right.
Get better.
You know, so
That's true.
it's cool. At the end of the day, what he eats don't make me shit. So I'm cool with that. Right? And I'm cool with criticism.
We got to get
it. I'll be honest, I don't get it, but I'm cool with people respectfully expressing their opinions. So,
but we gotta get to these comments because we got another great question from GC.
Okay. Don Johnson says, I know what not investing looks like, and I'm good on that. Listen, there's going to be a whole lot of 75-year-old people working at Walmart as greeters. No diss to the greeters at Walmart, but that's not what they're going to want to do.
Yeah,
so
they ain't doing that. They ain't doing that on purpose. They doing that because they got to. If you're a 75-year-old Walmart greeter, you doing that because you have to. Because if you don't,
some people need the bread, bro.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're doing it because you have to.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
If you don't do it, you won't eat.
Yep. All right. So GC says, yeah, I think that majority of this boils down to just lack of income.
Yeah.
Even just trying to get people on board in your own family can be difficult.
Absolutely.
So it's lack of income, it's lack of trust, it's lack of education. There's a lot of lacks there. There's a lot of lacks.
Yeah, that income is big though. The income is big.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm not trying to invalidate that at all.
Because without income, we don't got none of this.
Nothing.
But you just talked about it, Jimmy. You know, 6-figure savers. They got income a lot of times.
They are in our community. They are in our community. And I was shocked. I'm like, whoa.
They out here for real.
Yes.
We also know people who make 6 figures and don't have 5 cents to their name.
I know that too.
I know a lot of them.
That's a fact.
All right. So Camby says, I've tried to encourage friends and family to invest. I've had people talk about me like I was trying to harm them.
Damn.
Meanwhile, we've had years where people could have an annual return of 35% or more. Thank you. I mean, this year, what is the market up? 20 some odd percent already?
29%.
Yeah. This is that year. And there's been others.
Last year was like a 20% year.
So are you saying ESPP, Employee Stock Purchase Program?
Yeah.
GC.
Yeah, we were talking about 401ks, and he was talking about those also.
Yeah. That's what me and Jimmy were talking about with the J&J.
Yeah, man.
With those employee stock purchase programs, employees get to buy the stock, the company stock at a discount.
That's what I'm saying. They have that at Walmart. And so, like, people be making fun of people who work at Walmart. I know millionaires who came from working at Walmart.
Listen, man, one of the gentlemen, and he's like my old head too. Like I still speak to him to this day. That work at J&J with me. He been retired like 15 years now. He retired like 45 and been living on J&J stock. And he started working there when he was like 20 and just did like 25 years and just like bought stock. And the funny thing is, he didn't even realize what he was doing at the time. He got educated later.
Jimmy, did you work at Janssen or J&J?
I worked at J&J,
Okay.
Johnson & Johnson. I worked at the one that the location was in Flowertown. It was McNeil was the
yeah. No, because I did a bit at Janssen for a little bit. When I was IT. So
the hell was that?
all right, so JA says, check out the Premium Puzzles, guys. It tells you a lot. What I got from it was the risk of the market versus the risk and returns from housing. Take a look at the article. Will do.
Yeah, I actually have that. It's on my phone. I've read it before. But it's just so much context to that, man. It's just so much to it. But it is a good read though. It's a good paper.
Jimmy, please share that in that group chat.
Will do.
He put it.
No, but I sent it to the group chat, so you have to come back here and get it. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't get the link there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. GC says, I think that I look at it from a perspective of I came from nothing. So why can't you do the same? And I sometimes forget everyone is the same. But
yeah,
here's the dope thing about it, GC. You at least you recognize that, and you're right. You did it, so why can't everybody else do it? But then,
hey man,
You
Listen,
recognize
that's even big for you to say right there, right? Because
Right.
that's self-awareness. Like I struggled with that a long time. It was my mother who corrected me. She used to always tell me that everybody don't think like you. Like, stop thinking that everybody thinks like you.
Right.
She used to constantly tell me that. Like, so I understand that perspective too, because you're like, damn, I worked my tail off. You should just work your tail off. But then, and that's that, but that was my point about bubbles too, right? One of the things that Corey and I have done, right, over the years is we go speak at the youth center, the juvenile justice center. And the funny thing is, they invite us to speak all the time. We go speak to the kids, and
Brilliant.
the funniest thing is, it does more for us than probably them, because it also makes me recognize my privilege when you hear some of these kids and how they're raised. Like when they don't forget not having a father at home. You talk about not having food. You know, ribs is touching you, and that you see them in this environment, and you see
crack, grandma on
listen, man, mom turning tricks in the crib while they trying to just go to school. Like you hear these stories, and then you realize, like, well, damn, I'm privileged. But one of the things I like going every year to do that is because it keeps me grounded. It makes me realize that I'm privileged and that people are out here living wild lives, man. Some wild lives.
And they in straight survival mode, like, because the world, they don't understand anything that's happening around them in the world, and all they're trying to do is make sense of whatever's in front of them and trying to survive until they can learn. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these young boys that's behind bars and these young ladies is there because they don't have any understanding of what's in front of them. Like they don't have any understanding of what their future could hold if they could just hold it together. But everything around them is crumbling. And so all they're trying to do is survive to get to that point. They can't even do that because,
man, listen, one of the boys said he never had a black man like talk to him straight up and down until he got to prison. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The one kid told us, like, yo, I can get a gun easy. I can't get a job nowhere, but I can walk out in front of my house and get a gun anytime I want. So you hear stories like this, man, and you like
tomorrow. You said,
you know what I mean? Like
tomorrow I can go get a gun. I can't go get a job though.
Right.
And you hear stories like that, man, and some of the ways they have to come up. But what it lets you know is, man, some of us are privileged, like, you know.
But I think, like, one of the first things Corey just said, right, when y'all go do that, he said they're geniuses. A lot of times, our folks that get in trouble, we forget their humanity, we forget how bright they are, we forget that they might have not had a mom and dad to feed them, to comfort them, to hug them, to love them. And so they never had a foundation to start. Man. And not making excuses. Man, but that's real. That's real.
I didn't grow up wealthy, man, but I never missed a meal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't even know what that's like. I can't relate to that. Like,
I mean, to be honest, right? A lot of the schemes they came up was genius to survive. They got caught because they ain't have no, you know what I mean, no guidance. But a lot of the things that they did to survive were just like absolute genius. I was like, damn, if you could, you know,
channel that
and funnel that into something, you can't, you know, you would never lose.
I was watching a documentary. It was about the Bloomberg projects yesterday. And the dude was talking about how when the huge towers of the projects was up, they would wait till the first of the month and they would get in the elevators and they figured out how to rig the elevator so it wouldn't work. But then we'll be able to go back in and like fix it from an electrical standpoint. And so the reason they would do that is because when the first hit, people would go shopping and have their bags, and it was 18 floors on there. So they would literally go and make sure the elevator didn't work. So now you got to pay me to carry your bags up. So it was hustling. Like, oh, sorry, Miss Such and Such, the elevator don't work, but you know, I'll carry it up for $5, whatever. Or then they would go like, or they would say, I know how to go and fix that. And Monica was like, yo, these are guys are electricians or engineers and don't even realize it.
Listen, I think this is a point people don't think about, right? Use hip-hop head. Grandmaster Flash created the crossfader, right? That's electrical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Before, it was just drop the needle on the record and let it play. There was no mixer. There was nothing else until this genius from the Bronx created it. Who would have thunk it?
Exactly, man. That's what I'm saying. A lot of times we gotta harness those skills and stuff and like figure out a way to do that, man.
Yeah,
but
let's
get to the comments.
Yeah. All right. Jose says scammers have large followings because that hop with the scammers are looking for quick bucks.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. That is a fact. It is frustrating sometimes, though, but that's a fact.
Listen, I refuse to sell out, beloved.
All right. Richard says BlackRock. All right. He likes BlackRock. All right. He's a Don. He's clearly a Vanguard guy.
That's right, Don. We team Vanguard over here, Don.
Anytime you see those V's, that's the Vanguard right there.
Hey Don, I gotta keep it a buck though. We gotta talk to Vanguard about their app. Their mobile app is basura.
Straight Garbito. I tried to use that. My mom had Vanguard funds when she was retiring. I was trying to help her move her funds into a personal IRA, and their online app was absolutely garbage.
Yeah, that joint is cheeks.
Yeah, but the customer service was nice because I was like, look, I ain't dealing with your app. I had to call customer service and get everything done. It was absolute garbage.
All right, Alvin says, I think people want to do, but as the saying goes, you're a slave to what you don't know. I think that will be why many people will work 60 to 70 hours a week and still have minimum things change in their lives.
Yep.
Facts. Thank you, sir. The views and opinions shared on the Black Wealth Project is not investment advice. Thank you, Jose. Do your own due diligence. Speak with your financial advisor for those educational entertainment. This is for educational entertainment purposes only.
All facts.
I need to make that a banner. So we don't got to go through that no more. So here's a question, y'all, real quick. Again, the question today is, do you know your financial freedom number? But I want to ask a selfish question. Would y'all like to see more Black Wealth Project shows where we're talking about some of the ETFs we like, some of the stocks we like, some of the crypto you like? If you want to see that, go ahead and throw a yes in the chat for me.
Yeah, because we have areas of expertise, things that we like. We could just tell you about the stuff that we like, and
Put that last comment up? Oh, okay. That was Rich. What's up? What's good, Rich? AKA Jeff Tezos. But 2 tech and 2 index, you should be good. That's Ian. Ian preaches that.
Yeah, man.
Ian from Market Mondays, 2 tech, 2 index. And I get his point. Because again, I'm about small portfolio, not small portfolios, because I think that by adding the ETFs, you get exposure to more. But one of the things I found in my 20 years of working in finance, sitting down with folks at the kitchen table, looking at their holdings and stuff, the folks that actually do take the time to invest, man, folks be having like $10 in 400 companies. And I'm like, what are you doing?
And so just to piggyback off that, Jimmy, I tell folks, diversification and the way that it's promoted is overkill. And again, the way that it's promoted, because most people don't understand it. You'll get a financial advisor that'll sell you SPY, VOO, VTI.
Yep.
And they'll be like, oh, you're diversified. No, you're not. You're all overlapping on the same stuff.
Yep. That too.
Yeah. And so it becomes frustrating. And I tell people, like, the way the industry describes diversification, a lot of times is BS. But
it's true.
Again, that's a nuanced thing.
Yeah.
That's a nuanced thing. All right. Jimmy put MGK on the map.
Yeah, man, they owe me a check, man. I've been screaming that like it's a gang for years now. They owe me a check. Vanguard, shoot the check, man. At JW the Blueprint on Cash App.
All right, so Monica says VHT, VDC, MGK, VPU. What's VPU? I know VCR is a consumer discretionary, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, it is.
What's VPU though? I don't know.
VPU is the
is that utilities?
Yeah. That's the high
utilities.
Yeah, that's the utilities thing.
Okay, all right.
And I believe VHT is like the pharmaceutical.
VHT is healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare. The pharmaceutical. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Camby says VTI, VU, VNQ, and VB. What's VB?
We got all the We got the Vanguard.
Yeah, the Vanguard team is tough.
Yeah, y'all in the house.
We out here, man. So VB is the small cap portion of S&P. So a small cap.
Okay.
That's not bad.
All right, so GC says SPY, QQQ, AKRF. Shout out to Kathy Woods. VU, FIW. You got a lot of overlap though, GC. I mean, it's crazy that the Qs overlap with SPY like crazy. VU overlaps with those two. But now, what is FIW? All right, and he says, by the way, I don't own any of these since I prefer picking one company. Oh, okay. I got you now. My bad. These are not recommendations that should not be interpreted. Facts. Facts. All right. Market Monday, Ian, the master investor, preaches that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's something I preach too that Ian preaches as well. You don't need a super big portfolio. I think I saw him say 6 holdings. I say 7. 7 is the max, in my opinion. But
that's your max. You're talking about overall ETF and stock.
Yeah. Now, if you have a very ETF heavy, you might, if you really want to overweight some things, you could add a couple. But I wouldn't go over 10. But I would say,
yeah.
7.
To me, that's where it maxes out. 10 is the max. Like I don't want to own more than 10 of anything. Because I guess it's his perspective, right? So for me, I'm weird, right? I was taught when I was taught the stock market, I was taught that owning stock makes you an owner in a company, right?
That's a fact.
Right. So because I was taught that way, I'm listening to all the earnings calls. I'm like actively following what's going on. So for me, because I take it that serious, I'm like, I really feel like, I own Coca-Cola. Like you can't, you got to be careful, like what you drink around me, because I'm a Coca-Cola shareholder. But so I say that to say this: if you own 40, 50 companies, you can't follow it like that.
Impossible.
I mean, listen, I ain't mad at the Pepsi though. I ain't gonna lie to you because I'm VDC though, so I got Pepsi, Coke.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying in general. You know what I mean? Like So, but the thing is, you can't follow 50 companies that way. You can't.
You'll be stretched all over the place.
And then by the time you get to 50, 60 companies, you should have just bought an ETF anyway.
Exactly.
Because what you did was just create an ETF, and what you did was create a lot of work that you didn't have to do, because you could have just bought the ETF. Anyway.
All right. So where we at? All right. GC says, if you had to pick one single company to invest into death, what would you pick? Now I think we did this too, right, y'all?
No, we did a top 5. We didn't do one. Oh yeah, we did. Actually, we did do one. We said what would be the one individual. Yeah. I remember Corey's answer. I don't remember your answer, Kamari.
I think Corey said Amazon. Right?
No, Corey said Microsoft.
I said Microsoft.
I think I said J&J.
You did say J&J. I don't even remember what I said. I think I said Google. But yeah.
I changed my answer though because of what I've seen over the last year.
What's your answer now?
Procter and Gamble.
I can rock with that too.
I changed my answer to Procter and Gamble.
Now why? What's going
because
on?
Because the zombie apocalypse is coming, and Procter and Gamble got all of the supplies for the zombie apocalypse. They under that umbrella somewhere. So I'm gonna go with Procter and Gamble.
All right. So what's the zombie apocalypse, Corey? You can't just leave that out there.
So like the economy is going to shift and change, but the things that Procter and Gamble provides, like you know what I mean, like the food, they got food services. Yeah, they're so diverse that you're going to have to buy from them. They're never going out of business.
Right.
And so I'm think I'm going to go with Procter and Gamble just because I know they're never going out of business. They got like $20 billion brands. So
yeah, and actually, I think if we go back and look, I think my pick might have been Procter and Gamble, but I go back.
I want to make sure Corey slows that down real quick. They don't have a $20 billion. They have $20 billion brands. Right. They have 20 different brands, $20 different brands under their umbrella that are worth $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's insane.
You
talk about a financial moat.
Yeah,
that's a moat
with that. So I'm going to change my answer from Microsoft to Procter.
This is an interesting question because there's several companies that come to mind. So to narrow it down to one is difficult because I honestly think about Apple because I feel like when I'm buying Apple, I'm buying a religion. Like I feel like I'm buying Christianity damn near. Like the Apple folks will fight you. Right?
Yeah, they hardcore.
And that Apple itself, that logo has so much value associated with it. I don't see them going anywhere ever. But Corey's point about P&G is a great one. It's a great one. So this is a great question, GC, because I see so many companies that I would choose. I don't have no problem choosing an Apple. I don't have no problem choosing a P&G. But if I had to narrow it down, and I can't use the cheat code by saying an ETF, or unless I do something like Berkshire. That's like cheating too, though.
That is cheating.
That's cheating.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but Berkshire, because Berkshire owns all of those things.
Yeah, that's cheating. That's cheating. Because when the old man dies, though, Berkshire owns Amazon, right? So Berkshire owns Amazon. They own Coca-Cola. So
yeah,
they own Gillette.
Yeah, so I could take the cheat code to say
They own
birthday.
some Apple too.
Yeah, Apple too, right? So
I
I get Apple and I'm taking Berkshire, man. That's my cheat code. I'm cheating again.
Dog.
I'm cheating
now,
again.
Monica says she would choose Disney. I respect that.
I do too. I do
respect
too.
that.
Yeah,
Storytelling will never go out of style. But
and you know what? What's crazy is they might not have $21 billion brands, but I believe they have at least 10.
yeah,
I would have to go back and look.
but GC's pick, I can't argue that either. Like Amazon,
Yeah,
No, you can't argue that.
because they're the
These are
top,
all great picks.
they're the top logistics company. But that's what I'm saying. It's probably about a good 10 companies that I would pick to answer that question and will feel confident with.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get the richest question. Then I want to go to Rael. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's a lack of belief a lot of times why people won't invest. I agree.
Yeah.
But I want to get each of y'all's take on this question. What is the best investment to start for 16-year-olds that just started a job?
My answer is gonna be non-sexy. What's yours, Corey?
Education, but the first thing I would teach them is how to save before they invest anything, right? So teach them how to save, right? So to take a portion of everything that they get and put it aside for themselves before they do anything else, pay anything else, do anything else. Because the one thing that determines being rich or poor more than anything is what percentage of your whatever income you have that you can use to save and invest. That's one of the biggest predictors of being rich or poor. And so if you teach them how to take a portion and put it aside for themselves, they have that's one of the greatest steps, biggest steps to becoming rich.
Yeah.
Sounds like Corey believes that cash is king. But
I'm just saying. A portion for yourself. I didn't say what to do with it.
All right, so I have my answer, and my answer is non-sexy. Is very similar to Corey's. And this is why, like, you know, our following could be four or five times what it is, but I refuse to buy Lambos and drive around that crazy because I tell people stuff that's not sexy. But the not sexy and right answer to this, and by the way, this is not investment advice. It's for educational, entertainment purposes only. Is what Corey said. Save some money, right? Start to learn to save first and build up that emergency fund. The thing about an emergency fund is it's twofold. It's not just for an emergency. For one, is to build that discipline. And for two, is to help your investments. Too many times I've seen people that jump into investing right away. And then what happens is they have a need for capital and they don't have an emergency fund or someone they can pull from. So they have to sell their investments. So then what happens is their investments don't have time to work. So you're actually hurting your investments by not having an emergency fund or having cash as reserves. So it's a non-sexy answer, but start to build up an emergency fund. So therefore, once you get to the next step of investing, you'll always have that capital in case you need money for whatever that may be.
All right, so I'm going to give a sexy answer, even though I agree with everything they just said because they both disagree that cash is king. I'm just saying. But I'll say this. So Rael says, what is the best investment to start for 16-year-olds that just started a job? So first thing I would do, like Corey and Jimmy both said, is save. Corey also said education. Now, what I would do if a person is really, really interested in investing, I would have them invest in something that they already buy. So if they buy an Apple phone, have them buy Apple stock. If they love Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, have them buy some Disney. If they like Nike, have them buy some Nike stock. And start there. And, you know, start slow and then have them, if they're serious about investing, like if they really want to do it, have them start listening to some of the investor calls that Jimmy was just talking about. Had them start reading some of the investment media kits that they put out because they're very intriguing. They're very educational as well. So those are some of the things I would do.
Also, tell them to subscribe to the Black Wealth Project on YouTube or Facebook. That'll help them too.
Yeah.
Oh, and so you're not going to tell them to subscribe to the Finance Rebel on YouTube.
I didn't say buy the hood either. I didn't say any of those. I was just keeping it.
Buy the hood. Or did I miss that?
I said the Black Wealth Project. I didn't say buy the hood. I didn't even say buy the hood. I said the Black Wealth Project.
Listen, I'll be expecting so much slander from Jimmy and Corey. When they showing love, I don't even get it.
Yeah, man, you know.
Corey ready to smack me, y'all.
Yo, yeah, because
Kamari,
I rarely, if ever, cut at you, Kamari.
But no, you know what? I understand your logic in saying that, right? Invest in something that they use, right? And again, that's information that is out there, but we got to be careful with that too, because some of the stuff you use is trash. Yep. But when it comes to a kid, I think that's important because then they can see how this thing works.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? If they play PlayStation all day long, they go buy some Sony stock, they can see, or Xbox or whatever it may be. So I like that advice.
McDonald's, right? I mean, they're one of the best marketing companies and they target kids all the time. Buy some McDonald's stocks if your kid likes McDonald's. Now, we're not going to talk about the food quality, but if they like that and y'all get that, why not become an owner of it?
Because that's part investing, part educational.
Yes, it's all educational to me.
Yeah.
Yes. But what you said, there are a lot of trash companies out here. But again, it's all education, because when you're first starting, I don't expect you to knock it out the park, and you to have expectations to knock it out of the park isn't realistic.
Let me ask you a question, Kamari. What was the very first stock you bought and why?
The very first stock I brought was a company called, I want to say it was something Frontier. And I brought it because I was working in tech and they were doing a deal with Verizon and I was doing a contract with Verizon.
So you was insider trading?
No, because it was all public information.
I'm joking.
No. That's a real thing, right? But I brought it because I thought it was going to do well. DSL had just landed at the time. That was starting to take off. But then the company went belly up after the .com bubble burst. So,
what about you, Cora?
Hasbro.
Why?
Because I was playing a game called Magic the Gathering at the time, which is the biggest card game outside of.
Wait a minute, you played Magic the Gathering?
No, Corey. Listen, man, Corey's
Corey is complex. He got a lot of.
Corey is a hoodlum nerd. He's like a combination of a nerd and a hoodlum at the same time, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I played Magic. I actually played well enough that I used to travel the world and play the game. But that's we neither here nor there. But
wait, you traveled the world playing Puff the Magic Dragon?
Yo, listen,
is that a Black Belt project?
Listen.
Corey traveled the world playing a card game, and Kamari wanted to be Blair Underwood. So this is things we learned.
I'm just saying, like, listen, man, it's lots of money. It's still lots of money. Listen, I traded in my collection for like 50 racks.
Damn.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you who Corey is, right? We went to high school together. First of all, I've never seen Corey in the classroom. So, I mean, I'm putting it. We went to high school together, but I've never seen him in the classroom setting. Corey would cut class to play chess. Yeah. That's what he would do. He would cut class to play chess. That's who Corey is.
Yeah, I sat in the lunchroom all day and played chess and dominoes.
All right, let's get to a couple more of these. All right, Richard says, too many say that they don't even have $5 to invest, and I know they make money. Yep. Listen, how many of us go to that super expensive coffee shop and spend $5 on coffee? And I'm not latte shaming, but if you got $5 for a cup of coffee, you should have $5 to buy some stuff.
Latte shaming is funny as hell to me.
Yeah, I mean, because people do it, I think it makes no sense. But
yeah,
that's neither here nor there. All right, so Camby says an employed 16-year-old should invest in ETFs or mutual funds using their Roth IRA. Maybe. I don't like mutual funds though. For the record, y'all, I hate mutual funds. So I would never recommend mutual funds. I would recommend ETFs. There's probably like a very rare chance that I'm going to recommend a mutual fund. It's got to be like a super specialty mutual fund, because all of the ETFs typically are cheaper than everything that a mutual fund's going to track. So, all right. So GC's here. Yeah, at least we did have food, shelter, and my mom wasn't selling snatch or getting high. Plus, my mom never talked down my father.
That's important.
You know what? Salutes to that, right? Because I see so many broken families that are quote unquote co-parenting, talk trash on one another, and they don't realize they're damaging their child,
Man, listen, there's a lot of that on my timeline, but that's either here nor there.
Yep. All right, so GC said yes to the question I asked. Would you like to see us talk more about stocks or investments or any of our zones of genius? For example, I told Courtney I want Courtney to start talking a little bit more about law and how some of these new developments in law can really impact our community, because I don't see a lot of people talking about that at all.
Yo, for the folks out there watching, last question tonight though is, what's the first stock you bought and why? I'm interested. I'm always interested in that.
All right, so Monica says yep. Rich says yep. Maria Shake said yes. This is very helpful. All right, great.
Nice.
Listen, has it's helpful? I'm messing up Jimmy's question. Second to the last question. Has tonight's episode been helpful to y'all? So what's the first stock you brought, and has tonight's episode been helpful to y'all?
Quick question though, Corey and Kamar, y'all told me the first stock you bought and why. Do you still own it?
No, the company I brought went bankrupt. By the way, Jimmy, what's the very first stock you brought?
Oh, damn. Coca-Cola, and I still own it. And I bought this stock in 1996. But go ahead, though.
So even though you worked at J&J first out of corporate, you own Coca-Cola first?
I actually owned Coca-Cola before I worked at J&J. My first stock I bought as a teenager, but here's why. Honestly, because someone was schooling me to the stock market, and I didn't know what to buy. So the first two companies I bought were things that I saw all around. And literally, what it made me realize is how I've been branded to. I started thinking of big companies. I said, okay, Coca-Cola and McDonald's. Because
are you a Coca-Cola fan?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I don't drink a lot of Coke. I mean, I mess with the Coke Zero, you know what I'm saying? And plus they got smart water, but that's either here nor there. But I still hold the Coca-Cola share. I don't still own the McDonald's shares, but I still own the Coca-Cola shares to this day, which is 25 years later.
Impressive.
I hold one just for
never letting it go.
Just for shits and giggles, I hold one.
And if my heirs sell my Coke stock, I'm coming back to haunt them.
All right, Jose said yes. I would also like to know how to calculate your freedom number. All right,
that's a great question.
Cool. All right, Don Johnson says, I think that would be extremely beneficial. All right, thank you, Don.
We got work to do now.
Samuel said yes. Camby says yes. Okay, VPU is the utilities. All right.
Yep.
It took me a minute, but I got it. All right, GC says, I don't like the diversification. I have less than 5 long-term positions in my portfolio. Cool. Okay. All right. Now, it's funny. I've been kind of loosely studying water for like the last 15 years. Water is very interesting because less than 1% of the Earth's water is drinkable. And they are forecasting that we are going to have water shortages as population grows and as we have more geopolitical issues. So water is very interesting.
I wonder what the expense ratio is on something like that. That just screams high expense ratio. I'm not sure though.
Last time I looked at it, it was pretty high. It was
that screams high expense ratio to me. Yeah. In diversification, I think Kamara, you actually articulated it better tonight than I've ever heard anybody say. You said it's not diversification that's the problem. It's how it's taught or marketed, right? Yeah. That's where the issue is, because you can have 5 positions and still be diversified.
And here's the thing. Here's the one thing that I learned. To really be diversified, and we're talking stock market here, so keep that in the context. Everything that you have can't be in the market if you're really diversified. Everything can't move with the market. Mm-hmm. Correlation is a big thing I love to look at. You should be looking at the correlations of your stock to the overall market, not just beta, but the correlations.
Yep.
It will give you a whole new view on what the hell's going on.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so Jose says DRIV, Hero, MGK, Block, and Nerd. Okay.
A lot of tech there.
A lot of tech. All right, Richard says, I'm not focused on a number I need to hit. I like to focus on enough passive income that covers my bills. So you're trying to get out the rat race. I've kept my cost of living down, smart man, which will make me getting to that goal a bit easier. Smart. We need to do an episode on fire.
Yeah, that will be fire. Don't even ask how.
Oh man, the comments jumped on me crazy. All right, bear with me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. All right. Melody Allen says, question: I'm considering starting a drip portfolio in my Roth IRA. If I do so, wouldn't all the profits and benefits be tax free? Yes and no. Jimmy, you want to talk about this? I know how much you love Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks.
Well, see, there's two different animals, though, right?
Yes, they are.
Some are tax deferred, but there's benefits. We could do a whole show on just like the various Roths. So I rather save that question because all depends upon which kind of Roth you have, whether you have traditional Roth, whether you have whether it's a roller Roth, whether you're a Roth 401k. So there's all kinds of different ways.
So just for the sake of the conversation, right? I'm going to assume out that you have a regular Roth with a brokerage account. You don't have a self-directed Roth. So the question is it tax-free? Maybe. So you have to follow all the rules and regulations. You got to keep your money in there at least 5 years, though, to qualify for any tax-free distributions later on. The other benefit of the Roth IRA that I love, a lot of folks aren't thinking about it because most of us here are young. But when you get to that ripe old age of 70 and a half, in a regular traditional IRA, the government makes you start taking money out called a RMD, required minimum distribution. With the Roth, you don't have to deal with that, right? And so why is that a problem? The government says, hey, you've got that money all these years, grow tax-free. We want to get our share now. Caesar wants his due. Uncle Sam wants your money now. But with the Roth, you get to avoid all that. So keep going. Make sure you stay consistent with that drip. Stay on it. Don't miss a day.
Now, if you have any self-employed income, look into the Roth 401k because that, to me, that is the most underrated vehicle that's out there. And most people don't know about it, don't use it, or don't understand that you can literally create your own bank using that.
Facts. All right. GT says, yeah, I do serious research. I listen to earnings calls, look at earnings reports and future growth.
Yeah, you can't do that when you got 68 companies.
You can't. And I mean, here's the thing. If you really want to get into it, if y'all ever look at your ETF or mutual fund earnings, usually the top 5-10 positions are what's driving the performance of that fund. If you really want to get into it. So, all right. So Jose says DRV, electric cars, Hero Gaming, Nerd Gaming, MGK, E-Sweat plus due diligence.
Listen, man, MGK, they owe me a check, man.
Oh, man, Jose are having fun. All right, Alton says, I think I invest in Disney till death. Okay.
Not a bad one.
Listen, PG in my top 10.
Yeah,
that was the conversation. What's in your top 10?
Yeah.
Right. That and speaking
That's
of
not a bad one, man. Procter & Gamble got it going on, man.
Yes, they do. All right, Monica says, I feel like Disney is a cradle to grave company. I agree.
Yeah, they got the kids, they got the adults, they got everybody.
Yep. Amazon is getting into entertainment more and more. They're there. I think Amazon's growth strategy will be the reason they're around for centuries to come. Maybe.
I think the government gonna holler at them soon.
I do think though.
Amazon is the second or third biggest employer in the country though, right? And because our tax base because they create a lot of tax-based money, I don't think the government will holler at them too hard.
Oh, they can holler. They could do the same thing they did to Standard Oil. You can still operate.
Break them up.
That's what.
Yeah, they break them up into 11 companies.
You go here and you go there.
Yeah.
And so to speak about what Jimmy's talking about with Standard Oil, Rockefeller was what was his Sam Rockefeller, whatever his name. John Rockefeller. What became a billionaire because of government regulation. He had a monopoly, but he was also a crook too. They did a lot of unscrupulous, crazy things back in those days. But the government, by making them break up into several companies, basically made him and his family billionaires to this day.
Yeah, because they still were the largest shareholders in all the companies. Like all they said was, now you break up into all these companies. You can still own them all, but they can't be together as one. You got to compete. You got to compete with yourself.
Amazon just doesn't stop. They even acquired MGM Studios this year. Yep.
Yes, yeah.
The only thing I would say though is just keep on the lookout. It's always that thing that nobody's thinking about that kind of always comes and takes down the top shot. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, sometimes it's doing too much.
Right.
Yeah. That's like GE was Amazon back in the early 90s. GE is who Amazon was, is Amazon is now. Right. And they start doing way too much. Like, right. I mean, GMAC, they start giving out mortgages. Like, why? Like, you're General Electric. Why are you out here giving out mortgages? Because they start putting their hands in too many things, and it affected their core business. So
a lot of times, right? If we're talking stock market, right? When you have too much cash, Corey talked about this earlier, you got to do something with it. And so their goal is to make money for their stockholders, no matter what. And
this is before folks start buying their own stock back. That's the new wave. Right. Now, when I got too much money, I'm just gonna buy my own shares back.
Yeah. Well, no, they did some of that too, though. But they also cooked the books too. But it is what it is.
Hey, listen, man. Jack Welch made a living off of going out there selling how great of a manager he was, and come to find out he was cooking the books. But he made millions on the speaking circuit in between then.
Yep. All right. Monica says they should. So Monica speaking to what a 16-year-old just working should do. They said they should invest in something they use.
What you said.
Yep. Great minds think alike. Thank you, Monica. All right. Demetria.
Hey, Demetria.
I absolutely agree, Corey, on learning to save first. Yep. All right. TBH, I would advise younger people to get into crypto. So we know the Bada Hood camp is all for that.
Well, ho. I'm for Bitcoin, not crypto. It's a difference.
Okay.
Is it? No, it's really no. I'm just. I'm not really gonna go into it.
I'll say crypto. Jimmy is a Bitcoin maxi.
But Jimmy also likes ETH too. So I don't.
No, I do, but to a certain extent. 99% of crypto is trash and won't be around. I'm gonna put that out there. Now, there's the 1% that will be. I think that ETH is part of that. Bitcoin is part of that, but most of that stuff is garbage. But the thing about the kids is the kids do gravitate to it. They can understand it. And we do know that because of our Buy the Hood camp. The kids in our camp, when we taught them crypto, they got it right away.
What I find interesting though, oh man, I lost my thought that fast. My bad, y'all. My bad. I'll come back to it if I get it. Ooh, the comments jumped to me once again. Give me 1 second, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. Teaching discipline is key. I agree. Discipline is something that is grossly needed and missed out on so much. So, all right, GC says we have more time to become stable and can take on more risk. Okay, GC and Monica got a whole thing going back and forth. So GC kids dictate trends. Facts. That is a fact. Mm-hmm. So not only would I have my 16-year-old invest in what they use, I'd probably invest the same. I agree that they should look into crypto as well. I didn't think of that. Love these exchanges. RGC says, I think you should make sure your children learn how to read balance sheets and make informed decisions. All right.
Hey,
GC,
listen.
Are you an accountant?
No, listen. I think that's important though. GC that because that'll help them in school, like in terms of math and all that. I think that's amazing.
Can I take a quick moment? I want to talk about something real quick. So I always hear people say, what's the point of learning the Pythagorean theorem or algebra or physics in high school? But it was funny today. So I told you I was chopping down trees today. So my dad had me come over and I took my children with me too, because I wasn't doing all that work by myself. But the funny thing is we got into a conversation about physics, specifically about potential energy and kinetic energy. And we went all through that just from doing yard work. And then I started talking about how that can be also translated into leverage, whether it's life, whether it's money. And it just really dawned on me that there are really a lot of life lessons in these quote unquote germane, boring, subjects that are there, but we just have to really have an understanding of them to translate them to everyday life. So do y'all see that too, or do y'all agree, disagree?
I see it a little bit because I teach, right? So I have to bring out the everyday uses of the kids won't pay no attention, right? And so being in a classroom, one, it keeps me young, right? The kids get to, bidding on me and calling me all kinds of names and, old head and
right, baldy.
Yeah, they love that one. Baldy.
FOH old head.
Yeah, that's their whole thing. But once I show them the practical application, they're like, oh damn, I didn't even know I needed to know it for that. You know what I mean? Like, so they take a lot of flack for not knowing, but the practical applications are generally hidden from them. You know what I mean?
But I think that's the problem with a lot of it. A lot of it is the educators and not necessarily the information, because you have to meet people where they are, right? I always talk about learning statistics. I'm like, if my teacher would have just told me how I could apply this to like basketball or football, I would have got way more into it. You know what I mean? But the thing is, they were teaching from a book, and you got to pass these standardized tests. And you got to do X, you got to do this to this, instead of showing you how it relates to real life. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really how we're taught, which is why I'm excited to see like a lot of folks like homeschooling and going to smaller schools to see the change in education.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry I broke the topic there, folks, but that just came to mind, and I've been wanting to talk about that for a minute there, because again, I don't think everybody has to be a mathematician or a scientist, but how do we know if our children have that genius in them if we never expose it to them? So I don't know. So that's my little rant for the
day. Rants on.
All right, set the standard high. Okay, so GC says, I think y'all are underestimating these kids. Tell these kids to do research and go over what.
Kids are brilliant. They could listen. That's why. And listen, I got to give Corey all the credit for this. That's why Corey said, "Yo, we got to start the camp because you got to get to these kids. A lot of these kids know more than their parents."
All right, Activision Blizzard say all these people playing Call of Duty. Yeah, man. Listen, here's another story. Right, my son was doing robotics camp. He no longer wants to do robotics. Now he wants to do the esports camp or club they have now.
Hey, listen, let him try it, man. Let him try it.
No, I said he could try. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed that he was kind of bored of robotics, because you can see the clear path of robotics. It's here now. However,
I see the clear path for the other thing too.
Right. I was going to say FAA and a lot of these drone strike people are recruiting gamers for these jobs and these things, these businesses. So there's a clear path for that as well. So Monica says Corey is a Renaissance man. He introduced us to a Japanese chess game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He put me down with the jet, and then he was showing it to me, and then kicked my ass in the game while he was showing me how it works. But it's that game is fine. We actually bought it. We got it in the crib.
Oh, man. All right, Corey. I followed the same path in high school. My game was spades, though, or spit. Okay. So clearly y'all was in the lunchroom gambling. Monica says latte shaming. I'm still there. Go right ahead. I think I borrowed it from somebody else too. Okay, Donna says yes. All right. Rael, let me know if I'm saying your name right. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize.
So this is the question of, do they want us to do more of this?
Yeah.
I got that.
All right, let's keep going.
All right, the first stock I brought was Pepsi, because they own numerous companies. I know a lot of Pepsi addicts. Yep. I would probably take Pepsi over Coke.
Hater.
They make more money. I don't know what their profit margins are, though.
Coke is a more valuable company.
But but Pepsi has higher revenues.
Oh, let's see. Let's see.
You know what? Let's say that for another episode. Let's do a Pepsi versus Coke episode.
Hey, listen, I got VDC, so I'm winning either way. What you see? Never mind. Go ahead, though.
All right, Monica says my very first stock was Hershey. I went to Milton Hershey and I made the most sense to me. I still own it. Whoa, that's dope. All right, GC says first stock I brought was Boxlight, and I brought it for a day trade and forgot about it, and I'm still holding it to this day as a 50% loss. Wow, okay. Listen, man, take the loss, get the tax write-off, and buy it back again if you still love it. By the way, that's not tax or investment advice. Alton says only 3 likes on YouTube. Woo. Let's run that number up. Yeah, y'all, let's run that number up. We fight the algos. You know they don't want black men to be great, and our black sisters that be with us. So going over to our YouTube channel, it's Black Wealth Project. The Black Wealth Project. Like the page, subscribe to the page. Thank you. All right, Jose says KO. It was one of the brands that I always saw around the hood, and the entry price was right at the time. I began investing after finishing the Abacus course. Dope. All right, so you brought Baba at 80. My uncle told me it was the next Amazon. I still have it, but I brought more. All right, Clean Coal Technology is my original shit coin. Jimmy just said that. What's up, Aiden? All right, Aiden's actually my new intern, y'all. As a youngin' getting at it. My first stock was Apple because every device in my house is made by Apple. My dad told me to invest in what I knew, and that's what I did. Shout out to your dad. That's what's up.
So real quick, Kamari, Pepsi has more revenue, but Coca-Cola actually has more net income.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, let's do a breakdown of Pepsi versus Coke. I think that would be good, and some of the things we're looking at. All right, Jose said tonight's combo was super dope. Thank you, Jose.
Thanks, Jose.
All right, Alton says the first stock I ever brought was Walmart because I worked at their distribution center way back. Don't still hold those shares though. Man,
y'all gotta hold on to these good companies. Not the insider trading Kamari's doing. I'm talking about the good companies.
Listen, my company flopped, so no, it was. All right, so hey, Robbie. By the way, shout out to Robbie for helping me with some life insurance.
Nice.
Everybody, go check out Robbie. She does life insurance, y'all. So check her out. All right, so Nestle was her first stock. Oh, she's saying watch Nestle. Okay. Nestle pays a nice dividend too. All right, GC says, I think that there will be a worldwide water crisis in the next 10 years. Clean water is not easy to get. No, it's not. I think a lot of people take it for granted. They do.
I know I do. We get water delivered, and I'm like, now I'm starting to think like, should I be hoarding some of this stuff? Because GC got me shook.
Well, here's the thing: you don't want to hoard it in plastic. Try to get it in glass.
All right, so now how I'm gonna do that though?
Leach to the water.
Okay, now I gotta figure out how to hoard some glass water.
I do think at some point you'll see more desalinization companies come online to solve the problem with the water. They've got some with filtration, but not at large scale. All right, so Don Johnson says, Jose Sanchez, the FIRE movement does 25 times your annual expenses. Oh, you're giving the formula.
Yeah, right. How to figure out.
Right, 100K annual expenses times 25 minus 2.5 million if you're going to withdraw the 4% of a stock portfolio. And the 4% will be your income. So you can retire off that. All right, GC says, including myself, I just poured out a large cup of water today. Yeah, I think we all do, to be totally honest. I have a self-directed IRA, self-directed Roth IRA.
So you're self-directed.
Gold.
That changes everything.
Well, it doesn't change everything. It's still tax-free, but
no, but I'm talking about in terms of what you can put in there. But go ahead, though.
Yeah, but he was asking about tax, so I was just keeping it to tax. But yeah, you can buy a lot more with your self-directed IRA. What do you think about 3M?
Amazing tape.
Go ahead, say it again, Jimmy.
They make amazing tape.
Tape,
TAPE.
Oh, tape. Yes. Yes, they do make amazing tape. I haven't looked at their financials in a while, but listen, tape and sticky notes or post-it notes.
Man,
They make a lot of money off
a
post-it.
lot of these masks. Well, they
Yeah, how about that?
They do a lot of stuff that people don't know about.
Yep.
It's a great company.
They got a huge dividend too.
That is not investment advice.
And just like the company BASF does a lot of chemical stuff very similar to 3M as well. Not investment advice. At some point, I think they're going to hit Amazon with some antitrust action that benefits them. I agree.
Which means Bezos can be worth about $2 trillion.
All right, GC says, I think having higher level math and science is cool, but I think they take up too much time from things that could really generate people income and stuff they really need to know, like taxes, investing in health. That's another show for another day.
Yeah, I already know what you're about to say. They can't teach the basics. We don't want them teaching tax and investment. But go ahead, though.
I don't. I mean, for the record, I don't. I think all they're going to do is make better consumers. We don't need our people being better consumers.
That's true.
And by the way, there's a lot of good people out there teaching financial basics and education, even in these schools. So that's no diss to them. But once it becomes institutionalized, ooh, daddy, I don't know.
All right. We almost caught up.
Yeah, Monica. Yeah, we're breaking Amazon up would actually make just Bezos richer. Yes, it would make Bezos richer, probably.
Yeah.
All right, the government breaking Standard Oil made JDR wealthy. Yes, it did. All right, do a whole Business Wars episode. Oh, by the way, shout out to Jimmy. He put me down with Business Wars.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out to Jimmy. I love it. I don't know if we should be pubbing them here, but
hold on though. I gotta say something about
that joint is super funny. He put me on to that joint in like 2018.
Yo, but they got a new episode that I was dying. I haven't listened to it yet, but because I don't know if I want to hear them cover this one. One of the newest episodes of Business Wars is Death Row versus Bad Boy Records. Now, what's funny about that to me is it's not that podcast really isn't from the culture. They actually do a lot of research. But they go over big companies, Coke versus Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like Facebook versus Snapchat. The newest one they have is Bad Boy versus Death Row. So
wow, I'm with it. I'll be on that. All right, GC says, yeah, but I only threw like 500 at it, and it's actually you're talking about the trade. All right, and these are companies with nice growth prospects, and it hasn't gotten cheaper. LOL. My loss was a bit worse till they reported blowout earnings. Okay. Yeah, so all the young dogs getting in. I'm 18 out here grinding too. Okay.
No, GC, you 18, yo?
Okay.
No, GC ain't no 18, yo. That's you capping right now.
No problem, Roby. Listen, we family, we community. Nestle's buying up the right to water all over the world. Yes, I have seen some stuff talking about that. I believe Coca-Cola is doing something similar. All right, Share Builder used to charge $4 for trades. That was insane. I used to use Share Builder too.
So did I.
Robbie Cole, I definitely need to talk to you.
Yo, Share Builder was lit. I was excited as hell when I got the Share Builder because I used to pay $50 a trade.
All right. Jose's running the numbers. My dark horse is SoFi. Okay. Man, y'all are busy in these comments.
Listen, man. I trust in Chamath, man. Chamath's gonna take SoFi to the finish line, man. Let's go, Chamath.
Jose, no problem. All right, yeah. 2003, baby.
Hey, GC, that's rather impressive. Like I've seen you in our comments in a couple different episodes. In your commentary, I would have never guessed that you were 18. So salute to you. Like you really got your head on. I'd have never guessed that.
I'm glad to see you out here getting to it, young.
That's dope.
All right, so Monica says Business Wars likes to reenact conversations that may have had happened. Right. But they're hilarious though. I listened to the one about the Tonight Show. I thought that was hilarious.
So I could only, she's right. I could only imagine the bad. Hey, Monica, I'm letting you know right now, we starting that tomorrow, yo. Because I'm gonna be dying laughing with the puff reenactments.
Yeah, how about that? SoFi is my largest position. Okay. Oh,
Let's
y'all-
go. We're gonna
And-
trust the champ. If champ's gonna take, I'm sitting on some SoFi leaps right now, so I need champ to bring that chicken home.
All right, y'all. This was a long one. 2 hours.
That's
in
what
the
she
book.
said.
I'm glad. I'm glad y'all can see Jimmy is the clown, right? He's a funny guy.
Yo,
Gotta
for the
keep
record-
it. Gotta
for the
keep
record,
it light, man. Gotta
Nah,
keep
I
it
that
light.
was
love
a
y'all
good one.
because
That
I'm
was
missing
a good one.
billions. I'm missing billions to talk to y'all.
Yes. So I gotta get off and get it. Listen, Jimmy, do you watch Billions?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, we also need to do a episode about Billions, or a couple. We need to do a Billions recap. But again, thank you all tonight. Appreciate you all being here. Y'all rock with us for the whole time. But listen, join us next week. Next week, 7 p.m. Next Sunday, 7 p.m. Black Wealth Project, and we'll be bringing something new, something different about Black Wealth to y'all every week, 7 p.m. Thank you all again. I will see y'all all next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.